Divine Horses and Humans. I'm Jason J. Divine, the dyslexic horse guy. This is Narenka, so you are now watching the Narenka playlist in the round pen. So, I'm going to have a little drink of water. Remember that thing I talked about the other day, patience? You have to have a ton of patience to do this style of groundwork. And there isn't enough patience in the British equine industry. So what we've done is we've set things up a bit different in here today. Keep moving stuff around, and in my world, in my dyslexic world, I see these patterns and these programs that are being run on horses that are not working. And I said, she's just stood there, right, perfectly happy, ground tied, and I picked the stick up and gone towards her, and she's like, oh, I've got to move. Now she's licking and she's chewing, so she's thinking of something, right? Something's going on in her brain. Can't quite tell you what, but it's a sign. So I'm going to look at it at the point of view of, like, if a red light comes on the dash of my car, that's telling me there's something wrong. Or I put an indicator on, a green light comes on, and it tells me something's right. So that's how I'm seeing that, because when things go right with the horse, that's what I see. So we've got this tarp here with, well, who knows what's underneath it. And she's standing there just accepting it. Right, so if we ask ourselves, is it the tarp that's the problem, right? Or is the tarp the solution? Right, and that's a very sort of backwards way of looking at things. But like as I said, I am severely dyslexic, get the left and right mixed up, so talking about dyslexic time, I'm going to move away from her because she wants to move away from me. It is 7:18 in the AM on the 21st of June 2025, so it's the longest day here in Britain. And yes, dyslexic time comes about. I get my left and right mixed up quite often. My watch is on my left side and this is my right side, okay? Right, so let's show my vulnerability, okay? Right, because people, especially in the British equine industry, seem to think that I'm simple, I'm stupid because I'm dyslexic, because I openly tell people. But I see these things, these patterns with horses, and I'm good at solving those patterns. I'm good at solving these supposable, what they call horse problems, where I don't look at it as a horse problem, I look at it as a human being has a problem with a horse, because 9 times out of 10 what I see is human values and emotions being put onto them, not horse values and emotions. So she's standing there with her nose over that. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to go, well done, I'm going to give her a rub. And she wants to move away from it, and then I'll stop. And I'm going to do a little bit of this, like the confidence, friendly. So there's a balance between the stick and the string on the right side. We're a lot happier on this side today. So maybe we've come out of the stable in a different mood, because they are very much like we are, get out the wrong side of bed, etc. So, I've said to you before, if you go and watch previous Narenka playlists, and if you haven't, she needs a ton of this. And it's like, the more I do it, the better she's going to become at it. She's 42 years old, so she's pretty ingrained in her ways. But I'm not going to say you can't teach an old horse new tricks, because you can. And this is not circus tricks. This is not witchcraft. See that there's that licking and chewing thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her to come up here and because it's going to be a real hot day, I'm going to bring her over here, get that hind to disengage so she follows the feel, then disengage, because to do this groundwork you've got to have control of the hind quarters, right? So she needs to move her feet a bit, right, because she's that kind of horse. So what we'll do, we'll use it. We'll let her move her feet around, we'll change direction. We change direction and let her investigate things and see what's going on, and pushing her through these tight gaps. Because you could stand here and say, all of this is a problem. Oh, you know, you're crazy taking them in there. Well, if you don't do this, they're never going to get any better. And that's what I see in the British equine industry. People, no, you've made a decision, so you're going to have to follow it. Go on. There you go. There you go. Right. People creating problems because they're so regimented. They're so regimented in their way of thinking, in the way that they do everything. Because, you know, grooms need to, present and future grooms need to understand this. Right, so we're going to put some fly spray on it, not sponsored by any of these products at all, because there's a hole. Right, so she's moving and she's just stopped. So I'm going to bring her down here a bit, in a bit more of the chaos. So she's moving and I'll go, and she stopped. So I'll stop. Go down here, underneath her belly, down here. And what you've got to get is when the horse stops moving, you stop. And I've witnessed so many human beings that when the horse stops, they keep applying more pressure to them. So there's no release of pressure, because that's how they work. They work off of pressure, off of a scent, their smell, their hearing, their eyesight. Mother Nature has put a ton of fear in there with a ton of cortisol. Go Google what cortisol is. Going to give her eyes a little bit of a wipe. Go Google what cortisol is. And if you're going to do this, right, I want her to back up. Right, don't hold them by the head collar. It causes problems. So I'm going to put my hand here and I'm going to come up and I'm going to wipe. And then I'm going to stop. And I'm rubbing with this hand here, my right hand coming up with my left hand on her left side. And I'm coming upwards. I'm not coming over the top. Because if you go over the top, a lot of my experiences, horses get reactive to that. Why do they get reactive to that? Because somewhere, I believe, in their journey, they've experienced some kind of violence. Because I don't think there's a horse within the British equine industry. See how she moved away from that? So I'm going to keep going, and she just leant into it. Keep going. And I'm going to say it again. Like I've said it before. You train two sides of a horse. That's how it works. And you ride two sides of a horse. And you have to keep this right at the front of your mind. So I'm going to put a bit of sunblock on her face. So if it'll come out, there it is. So you have to keep that right at the front of your mind. And what else we have to keep in our mind? Horses have got a blind spot here, and you have to be very aware of that. So to protect yourself, do everything from the side. Right, and if you're going to stand in front of them, right, if you're going to stand in front of them, do it from a distance. I've witnessed so many people get run over because they're right on front of the horse. Right, I keep working at that because she's going to, there, she just dropped her nose. So, because it's going to be a hot day here today. So we got that done. Sun blocked up. Right, so let's just get some of this off, rub it in my hands. Yeah, so standing here, you can see how she reacted to that. They can't see you here, and there's a point down here. So this is why I do everything to the side. If I'm going to stand in front of a horse, I'm going to do it like this. And you see how she will follow it? There. Right? I'm not going to stand now, especially if I'm teaching a horse to accept going through a gap. I'm not going to stand now like this. Right? Rope management. Right? It's either like that or like that. It's not this. Dangerous. Not this. Dangerous. And until you've actually broken a finger because of bad rope management, you're not going to understand that, so don't even go there. So let's just see what we've got under the top, shall we? And let's see how she reacts. So she moved away from it. I'm not going to make a thing of it. I'm going to pull it out here and I'm going to drive her across it. Right, because the more they do things like this, the more comfortable they're going to become. 42 years old. So I put a bit of distance on her. I let her move her feet. She's moving into the pipe world again. So I'm going to go, over you go. No, you just started making the decision. So you've got to go through it. So direct with the rope and support with the stick and the string. Right, direct with the rope and support with the stick and the string, right? Direct, see? Right, she's getting confused. Right, and this is what would happen if you rode her. Nope, right, direct, and support. There you go. Right, so we've got that, we've got the top, and we've got the tube. Right, so what do? That's it, you said it. Just walk away for a bit. Take a moment, do nothing, patience, have a little drink. Check the time, see how we're doing for time with you. And another problem that I've experienced in this country, in the British equine industry, dustbins. So she's just gone past that dustbin now on her left eye. So now I'm going to push her past on her right. Went a little bit wide in the eye there, but she did it. So I'm going to sort of walk away. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this wheelbarrow over here. And I'm just going to keep walking away from stuff. And like, I'll say this, and I'll tell you a quick story. Right, when I worked in the polo industry, I worked with an Argentine, and a lot of people couldn't understand why he got things done with horses the way he did, and how fast he got things done with horses. And there was a lot of individuals that classed him as lazy. He was lazy, right? But that was half of the trick to it that they didn't understand. Because he always said to me, don't ever tell the Englishmen because they think you're crazy, right? Hear that snort? So she's seeing it through her right eye. This is good, there's the lick. She's trying to go, now she's going to investigate something else. So I'm just going to go, right, okay, that's a good job. So anyway, and the other part of him, right, certain people will go, oh, this horse is that and this horse is this, it's, you know, SH1T, it doesn't do this, and that, right? And then he would say, well, you know, what does it do? What's it good at? And they're like, what do you mean? Well, it must be good at something. So what's it good at? There's the pole, so we've got over that. Must be good at something. So he'd ride that horse and he'd find what that horse was good at, right? And he'd go, right, so he'd work on that, right? Because he knew the horse was good at it, right? But he never looked at the horse as being SH1T, right? Because that's humans putting human values and emotions onto an equine being, onto a horse. So one of the things that I used to practice a lot in polo was penalties. Getting your horse straight going to the goal and getting the mallet onto the ball. Because you've got to remember, polo is basically 80% the horse and 20% the human. So when he got like the perfect, what he felt was perfect, like he said, is excellent. When he got an excellent penalty out of that horse, he would ride that horse through the goal and he'd just sit there. And I was standing there one day with him while he was sitting there, and he'd sit all slumped in the saddle and that. He'd open his legs up, he'd take the rein off, the horse would have its head down low. So let's check what we got there. Head down low, let's see if we can get her to lower her head. Yeah, a lot better today. And he'd sit there 5, 10, 15 minutes, maybe longer. Or sometimes he'd just go off and strip the horse off and turn it out. It depended on how he felt. But people would go, I don't understand, he doesn't seem to do anything with his horses. And there'd be certain individuals out there that would literally be running their horses absolutely ragged, and their horses, their horses would be completely sweated out. It would just be aggressively getting worse and worse and worse. And my South American friend would say to me, oh, it's so funny. And I was like, what's funny, mate? And he's like, look at that Englishman over there. Thinks more he does it, the harder he makes the horse work, the better it's going to get. And it's going to unravel. It's going to come worse. And when it becomes worse, he'll come to me and ask me to sort out his problem, not the horses. Because like he said to me, oh no, we're tight there. We're still tight. You still see, sceptical. So I'll try this. Better, but still sceptical. Because he was like, this is a horse and that's a human. That's the way he was. That's the way he saw it. And the amount of human beings that used to bring horses to him to resolve a problem that the human had created, a bit lower-headed today, that the human had created, we just let that horse be a horse. And some of the stuff we did together, me and him, was just unbelievable. The slower we went, the faster it happened. The more we relaxed, the better it was. But the particular individuals that owned this polo club considered he was lazy, and they'd always be chasing him up, always wanting to know what he's doing, where a horse is at, this, that and the other. And it was just because he's like, they don't understand. They don't understand. They don't understand it's a horse. They don't understand the slower you go, the faster it happens. And he used to say to me all the time that the Englishman thinks you're crazy. If you tell the Englishman what you know, what I'm telling you, they think you're crazy. Because I went and worked with him in 2014, and I started working with horses like professionally, let's say in 2009. And I was getting things addressed with horses the way I'm doing things here, and people didn't like it because it shows human beings that take things personally and they think you're attacking them. Yes, I know. You're not going to die, are you? And that's the problem with human beings. They take things personally. They think it's attack against them. They think the horse is making it personal, where they're not. They're just being a horse. And I'm going to keep saying it. Sympathetic nervous system. Cortisol. Go Google it. It will answer an awful, awful lot of things to you. So that one. Thanks for popping in. You're going to do what you want to do. You're going to go and look at what you want to look at, and you're going to click what you're going to click, aren't you? Doesn't matter what I say, and it's a waste of time, my time, trying to show you there's a better way. So we've got something going here, because she's accepting it, and I let her move her feet. Watch. I let her move her feet, and she stops, and I take it away. That is when you take it away. The slower you go, the faster it happens. So don't forget to check out past content, future content and present content, and be in the present with the horse. You have to be in the present. You have to be in the moment with them. You can't live in the past. You've got depression. You can't live in the future. You've got anxiety. You have to be in the moment. And this is where I'm going to keep going on about. Go learn about the sympathetic nervous system. Hugely important. Hugely, hugely important. And if you had some kind of trauma and you've got some kind of anxiety around horses, if you go learn about that, right, how it affects you, it will answer an awful lot of questions to you. Because horses have to be able to see through you. They have to see who you truly are. You have to make yourself vulnerable to a certain extent. Oh, it's got a bit of a runny nose. You have to make yourself vulnerable to a certain extent. And if you're not willing to make yourself vulnerable to them, and you're going to put a mask on, and you're going to cover it up like the Incredible Hulk, or you're going to cover it up like a wilting flower, they will see right through you. So that one, we'll catch you in the next one.